Good evening, and thanks for joining us at Por Tierra Mar y Aire podcast. Welcome, Maxim Sheremet. You are the leader of the Drone Lab, and we are very excited for this opportunity to bring your work and the work of your people and your voice to both English and Spanish speakers, military and defense professionals, and enthusiasts. We thank you for agreeing to participate in this interview and to share with our listeners any details you can tell us about how you are defending your homeland with drones. So, thanks a lot, Maxim, for agreeing to participate.
Salute, everyone. Salute, guys. I appreciate it to talk with you. Let's start.
Okay, first of all, we would like to know about your education and background. How did you enter into, drone or UAS building and piloting and designing? Did you have any previous experience in military operation defending Ukraine?
At first, let's talk about the first stage of the drone. You may know that the war in Iraq have accumulated the so huge experience to using the buying drone. I'm talking about the drone which use for dropping some presents to our or their enemy. I'm talking about the small grenade which are dropping from Phantom. It's a DJI drone. It's the first such experience in that way. We started building drones in 2014 in the first stage of war with Russia. At that time, I studied on the first course of my university. Right now, I'm working about with drones about 10 years. I am mentor in a small drone lab. We teach the students, and also in the past, I work on one huge Ukrainian concern of military concern. We make drones for our army. It's a project which named Bereginya. It's a Ukrainian tactic drone which we made in 2019, but it was a few years ago. Right now, at the war 2.0, we start the lab with my friends, with my students also, because I'm a PhD in my university. I have some students. The students are helping me in building drones, dropping systems, planes. Exactly, we are building drones for different target tasks. We have a huge experience and exactly know what need in the battlefield, what drone are exactly need, and it's a story not about drones. It's a story, as I say, about planes, about dropping system, and so on.
Okay. So, what can you tell us about your involvement with the Veteranka? It is a correct pronunciation? Organization. Why did you start your activities there? How did they support your efforts?
In the time of the Bucha, everyone in the whole world know at the time we start our lab. I accumulate the huge knowledge about my engineers, and the guys and girls from the women veteran movement help us to organize the job of our lab, because the war is not only pew pow. The war is a knowledge. The war is organization. If your organization are work correctly, your efficiency will be higher. So girls with women with run movement help us to organize this lab.
Okay, very interesting. So now about your team, about your students or other colleagues and collaborators you work with. Um, Tell us whatever you want about them. We would like to hear about the people that are using UAS to fight the invaders. And also, you want tell us about the principle one drone, one engineer.
Yes, at first I have say thank you to my engineers who are helping me as volunteers for all time. And when I'm talking about the engineers, I'm talking about the qualification FPV pilots in the past, which now which are flying on handmade drone. They know how build drone, and it's not very hard to restudy my guys how to build that tactic drone. So to my lab going the person which are 16 years old even. It's a student of Kiev National Polytechnic Institute. And also the fathers with their children, girls also coming to my lab. They doing not such difficult soldering job, but in all aspects they already help our country. About one drone, one engineer. You may understand that we are not the China manufacturing huge company. People are volunteers. Someone coming in one day, someone to the few days, someone come tomorrow, or etc. So one project have one engineer. They know all what happened inside, but everybody can ask to other people how to do something if they don't know. In my lab works also guys which are working with 3D printed parts. Many elements we do it by our own. I'm talking about the components inside drone also.
I see. So, given that subject, describe us, please, drone labs in more detail. Explain to our audience all that your people are involved, from design to build and from trying to use them. Because just a moment, I know directly first person that to build something like this it is not an easy task from day one, and to pilot an FPV drone is not easy too for the beginners. So tell us about the roles.
If you're talking about drones, I take the other one. It's actually our FPV drones. It's long. It's actually FPV long range 7-inch drones, which call
Okay.
Banderic. It's one of our serial drone. We're
Oh my.
proud that its drone have one way axis gimbal with 4K resolution camera, daylight camera, and also thermal camera with high quality image
Wow.
on yes, it's a camera which named Thick Thermal. It's 15 Hz with resolution, high quality resolution. Actually, cost of our drone is about $2,000. It's cheap when we're talking about the drone with a thermal camera.
Absolutely.
We're proud.
Yes.
We're proud that the frame are made from carbon in Ukraine. Also, it's a carbon frame which are made in Ukraine. Many different parts. I'm talking about canopy, 3D printed parts are made also in Ukraine. The software are based on open source project which named INAF. Do you know it? We write our own target for this drone with remapping some resources, and the parts which are using inside is the China parts. Also, we're proud that we use lithium battery, which are also made in Ukraine. It's a battery which are using inside Tesla. It's 18 6050 lithium packs with 19 amperes powerful.
Okay.
So its drone can fly about 30 minutes and can fly with high speed. So when
Something
we're
like
talking about
40 meters per second, something like that.
yep. But we make some adjustments which are make slower this drone because do you know on the field the guys which are flying on these birds are not actually the professional FPV pilot. So
I see.
its drones have all navigation system as altitude hold, GPS hold, return
Yeah.
to home, and so on. But you may understand that Russian enemies have some actually weapons which can make some bubbles. I'm talking about
Yeah.
the interference bubbles inside the battlefield. These bubbles in these bubbles inside, all bind drones can fly. I'm talking about the drones, DJI drones, and so on. So these drones have very powerful transmitter system. We use 3 watts video transmission system and
Wow.
more than 1 watt radio RC link, which help drone fly in different interference situation. It help pilot make some um, art correctory work and looking and research job and so on. Not about small drones. Our lab make also huge drones. As you see on this video, we make huge drones for different target tasks, which can drop huge presence. I'm talking about the drones with weight about 8 kilograms and 20 kilograms also. So how it work? Guys with guns comes to me and say, Maxim, we need drones for that weight, for this flying time. We make some resources, looking research some components, and say, yes, we can do these drones. It have this time. May do it? Yes, we do. So we make drone about 2-3 weeks and wait before some parts for creating this drone. So how it works?
Oh, I see. And how was the training of the people at the front? Because you have to they have to learn how to pilot an FPV drone, right?
Actually, we make this small drone
Hmm?
only for FPV pilots. Do you
Okay.
know how many FPV pilots are exactly right now on the battlefield? It's a lot. It's more than 100. Yeah, it's in the past. It's actually the hobby FPV pilot, but right
Yeah.
now it's this guy make a huge tactic job using the kamikaze drone, using the actually FPV drone, and so on with high quality FPV skills. We studied how to fly on the huge drone because actually it's a very expensive machine with very powerful, more powerful transmitter system and have some specific movement with control because this machine have several RC links which can change automatically and some very cool features about what I cannot talk.
Sure. Uh, Very clear safety reasons. So I would like you to tell us the story of these 150 days of this phase of the war, because a lot of people here in the West think that this war started on February 24, but it is not the case at all. Anyways, tell us about the last 150 days.
Yes, actually, the war in Ukraine are more than 8 years, and nobody understands it.
Yeah.
Uh, Actually, when the at the first day of the war, I'm talking about 8 years ago, I even understand what exactly has happened because I will be the young student. We are making drone with something spare parts from donation. This hobby drone for even know the tactic. It's not tactic drone at all at past. 8 year are going past, and right now when the second stage of the war are begin, everything are changed in the second. At the first day, we even don't know what to do. On the second day, I take my parents out from Kiev. Then I return to Kiev. We are going with parents to the village under the Kiev because we are worried about the rockets which are flew into in Kiev. I understand that I, with my friends, cannot shoot from rifle. Our rifle is our brain, so we must doing something for our enemy, for our country. So we are collaborated, as I said before, from veteran car movement, and starting with 10 people to doing something. I'm talking about the drones for spare parts. Maybe from every country of Europe, guys sent out different parts for creating drones. So at the first stage of the first month, we're creating about 50 drones. Right now, yes, it's a lot. It's a lot for 10 people. It's a
Absolutely.
lot.
Yeah.
Right now, in my lab works about 100 engineers. And
100.
about 100 engineers. One people work on drones, one people work on planes, one people work with dropping system, and so on. So when we're talking about 4 months, we make about more than 200 drones. Yes, it's about 4 months. It's drones which are actually flight on the battlefield. It's a lot. It's more than country making before about 1 month.
Absolutely.
So yeah, it's a lot for a small group of volunteers. Right now, we're making huge drones. We're making drones by serial. We have very good feedback about our drone, and we're proud that our serial drone Banderik, no one of these drones are not lose it on the battlefield.
Really? Wow.
Yes, if we're talking about this serial drone, we make 30 such type of the drone, such type. And why they don't lose? Because, as I said before, only professional FPV pilot work on this machine. Why so? Because it's very long way to do this drone. It's very long time to produce this machine, and actually only professional pilot, not DJI drone pilot. Actually, for me, the pilot which control the buying drone are not pilot at all. You may understand it, because it's very hard and long time to knew how to teach how to fly on FPV drone. Exactly, with no GPS at all.
No
It's
GPS.
no GPS. If
Okay.
we're talking about the future of war, you may understand that all interference signal are blocking. even right now, the virtual shield around the Kiev are working and are tuning on when the air air attachment from air when the rockets are flying to my city. So when I drive in the car in that moment and using the navigator, the car didn't understand where there is
Yeah.
exactly at that moment, because even in the city the GPS signal are blocking on. So if we are blocking, the Russians are also blocking not only GPS, they also trying to blocking the other RC frequency. I'm talking about 5.8, 1.2, 2.4 gigahertz is actually typical frequency which are blocking with different guns and tactic complex. I'm talking about the complex which named Krasuha.
Krasuka, yeah.
Krasuha. It's a
Krasuka,
tactic.
okay.
Yes. It's the name of tactic complex which make the bubble
I
inside
see.
battlefield. So the many guys and volunteers helping us not only in Ukraine, also from other country, from Litva, Latvia, Spain, France, USA, Germany, Italian, Great Britain, and so on. From different countries, guys sent some gifts and spare parts and other FPV stuff. Actually, we need all FPV stuff. So if you want to help my lab,
Please.
please share these videos and send some parts to my friend in Poland or Slovenia. The link will be in the description. They sent these parts to me exactly in Kiev, and your parts are helping. Will help to win in this war together with you guys.
I'm pretty sure a lot of people are going to do that after hearing this interview. As far as you can tell me, how your drones pass that electronic warfare bubble, how they defeat the.
Well, the few words, what can I say? We change the frequency because how work this system. First, the two stage of the work. First stage, which called rare. It's the complex which are finding the exactly frequency what are working the drone.
Okay.
For example, when you fly on DJI up from the line of the trees, for exactly, your frequency stay higher and higher. Actually, the DJI drone works on frequency 2.4 gigahertz.
Yeah.
It's like Wi-Fi. So the rare complex knew that these frequency are in the air, and second stage, the second complex, which named Krasuha, work like white noise. They make at the same frequency the powerful signal, which make some interference on signal which are going from drone to remote controller. So this how it works. In real life, this complex cannot work at the same time at all, because when one complex are blocking, the other complex which are expecting cannot work. Do you know the complex which named Woody Woodpecker, the Russian complex which are finding the ballistic rocket from the USA? Do you know here about it?
Just a little bit, if you can explain.
You can Google about that. It's a complex which I separated near the Chernobyl station.
Okay.
Its complex have the very powerful antennas.
Mhm.
It's named ZRLS Duga. Its complex knew when the rockets are flying on, and make some interference, which in the first stage of this complex, some interference to change the ballistic trajectory of this rocket. So it's one way how to block the rockets and the other system. But this complex are using in Soviet period for finding the planes and the other flying objects in the space also. It's a very powerful complex. So right now, the driving is like driving machine on the based on four-wheel motor group. I talking about one more time complex Krasuka, which are blocking exactly interference in radius about 18 kilometers.
Wow.
So on the online on battlefield, this complex and other version of this complex are turning on, and it's very hard to use the bind drone, and also I'm not talking about DJI aeroscope because this system it's China system which are actually new, where the pilot with remote controller and the drone are flying at the same time. So yes, it's the other way, but our guys from Aerorozvedka and I also knew how to work with this system, how to unblock the signal and not turn it on. So return to our story about the bubble. Our drone have two way how to work on this situation. The first way, when the rare complex are working on, they can change the frequency in automatically mode on the other frequency. For example, a drone flying on frequency 2.4, when this frequency are blocking on, the other frequency on drone are turning on. It's the name, which it's the principle of the work, which called PTMyA. It's automatically change frequency system.
Something like frequency hopping, something like that?
Yeah, something like that, but Russians are blocking all specters of the signal, and it's not useful at all. The other way to make very powerful drone. Yes, this drone maybe in Belarus can watch on radars, but with very powerful transmitter system. I'm talking about the drone with 3-watt transmitter. You may understand Mavic have 100 milliwatts, 200 milliwatts. It's a transmitter which has 3 watts. It's
entire watt. It's quite a lot.
It's like a microwave in the air. So we work with these transmitters and receivers, and it helps exactly to fly in a tactic on the battlefield. Yes, exactly on the battlefield, on the long distance.
I see. I would like you to explain more about, for instance, dropping systems and also fixed wing planes. I think that you also have those ones.
Actually, my lab works only with multirotors. I'm talking about drones with quadrocopters and hexa. We're not making fixed wing because every engineers must work in that way, which they do perfect as professional. My lab making drones, other lab in Ukraine, in Kiev and other cities make a very cool complex which named PD2. It's a concern which named Ukrspect system. It make a very cool complex which named PD2. It's a tall with fixed wing. It's a very cool complex. I'm really proud that our country makes such cool system. And actually, the system are very expensive. When we're talking about the price, you may understand my drone is very cheap, very cheap. When we're talking about the huge complex, you may understand it may cost a lot. Not a lot as Bayraktar, but a lot.
What about your dropping system? Because
Yes,
I
about
find it very interesting.
yes, we make also dropping system for every kind of the buying drone. Also, it's not very hard to produce. It have some analog of a microcontroller, which help to understand when the flashlight on the buying drone are turning on, and move the servo, which make the movement, and the presence are dropping on.
I see, but I assume that it is perfectly safe because I saw some for comparison,
Yeah, yes,
Russian
as you see,
experiments, but that seems to be very unsafe. But they work in a different way.
uh, right right now, as you see on this video, we produced the different dropping system for 1, 2 grenades, for
Mhm.
different drones, for Mavic, for Autel, for motorized and other type of drones, of buying drones. Also making drones with dropping system at the first stage. These drones named Veliki Banderik. It's a huge drone with weight about 8 and 20 kilograms. Not about the presence. When I'm talking about the presence, I'm talking about the bombs. Our guys dropping some medicine stuff, ammunition, and so on with this dropping system, which are using on buying drone like Mavic. You can easily drop some even food. We make and produce the universal dropping system, which can drop everything. Right now, about 4 months, we produced more than 1,000. Yes,
Wow.
1,000 dropping systems. Yes.
I didn't think about that, and that is really interesting because the last kilometers logistics are very has a great potential of being served using drones. And if you can carry very sensible or very important stuff to the guys at the front, it could make a difference, right?
Yes, but it all about situations. It's story about
Okay.
situation. Yes. If you're on cross line fire, yes, it's efficiency great. But using the drone, the expensive drone for dropping the small, the very small weight, with the ammunition with the small weight, it's necessary, I think. But it's functional when you're on war. All the way are working.
I see. Now, are you developing some kind of artificial intelligence applications of resources? Are you integrating that into your drones, or you
Uh,
plan to do it in the future?
Yes, we work right now with our guys with a company which I think don't, which I can name, but these guys are very cool. These guys are helping us with donation. It's IT company. They have a lot. Office in around the world. This company help us with their guys with neuronic system, which can new, as you see on this video,
Mhm.
this neuronic system help to understand where exactly situated the enemy on the field. This neuronka works with enemies and with enemies machines and people also. It work on some board with which have the signal from camera as on the air as on the ground station. We make this complex in serial on a few weeks, I think. Right now, it's this complex work on the cloud and helping our guys only analyzing the video in the past. So you're filming something, it's necessary to watch it by yourself. You can upload this video on the cloud, and this system are analyzing this video on a few seconds and say you on what minutes on this video the enemy are. So right now we make the imagine box which are will be inside the drone or inside in the ground station, and help to analyzing in real life on the image the coordinate and where exactly the enemy are.
So it will be something like edge computing capability acquisition, right?
Yes, I cannot talking more about this system, but it actually works, and on the video you see it's working.
It's really, really amazing. You guys are several steps ahead from most of the NATO armies have right now. It's truly, truly amazing.
If our country makes some financiation before this active stage of the war, we will be win in this war of few days, I think. But right now we're all making very, very slowly because we have no parts, we have no very huge fabrics to produce these drones in serial at all. It's not easy to produce a drone. It's very easy. It's only soldering job. The story is about components which are not produced in our country. We can make a frame. Yes, it's easily. We can make this from cutting the carbon. It's not very easy. We make produce the lithium battery from it's a recycle story. But we cannot produce the spare parts like motors, like ESC controllers, like flight controllers, and so on. And not only produce, you must test it, you must flash it, and make some. No, it's like testing job when you make some complex work with this complex on the field, and make this in serial, like TBS story. You know, it's transmitter system which are very powerful and cool. It works all over the world, and if you're talking with some FPV pilot, which transmission system you are using to fly on 5 kilometers in mountains? The answer is TBS.
Yeah, the best case. Yeah.
Yes.
So, what about Delta system? Are your drones integrated into the system somehow, or not? Not already.
Our drones have integrated with systems which named Krapiva on smart planchette, from which control the drone. You can swipe with tablet and use the system. But as I knew how pilot work, the actually pilots have planchette table with Delta, and the other pilot fly in virtual goggles. For example, the other guy have output from the goggle on a monitor, and have information from the monitor and from the Delta, and correcting the fire and make the job.
Wow.
Yes. It's one way how to work, for example, with this drone. When you're flying very fast in FPV, you may understand that the pilot flew and the other guy are watching what exactly are on the battlefield. Because as speed are very fast, it's very hard to doing something on the tablet and flew on a drone at the same moment. You may understand it exactly without GPS.
That is really, really amazing. Let me insist, we don't have anything like that. We are talking about, from our point of view, about the future, but the future is right now, and that future is saving your country, or at least help saving your country.
Trying to save, yes, trying to save, but you may understand it's only small part in the sea, because these drones are making the small technical job, which help to use the huge power, for example, HIMARS or other power weapons which are donated to other country from other country. I'm talking about the Panzerfaust and other huge weapons from Germany, Poland, and so on, and guys from the country also. It's a story about the research, looking research. The story about this FPV small drone. But do you see the video of kamikaze drone which are controlled of FPV pilot? I can send you this video and your watchers can see it right now. The guys will make the warrior and the FPV pilot at the same time, make their own drone and flew at the door and destroy the enemy. It's very cool because the guys do a drone by their own. They make this drone on the battlefield and destroy the enemy very correctly in the village without destroying the other buildings. It's very cool. They use the FPV, the 5-inch FPV drone. It's very cool.
5-inch one. Oh my.
5-inch one. The distance of the
like,
distance.
Like this.
Yes. Yes. You're 4-inch maybe. Yes.
Mine is a 3-1.
No. 3-1, yes. 5-inch drones with small granite. They use Fat Shark goggles, analog transmitter systems, and TBS remote controller. The distance are not so long, about 2-3 kilometers, as I understand on the video, but it's a story about kamikaze drone. It's very cool. It's very cool. Exactly, we also make some kamikaze drone, but the pilot must be very professional, very to destroy such correctly enemy in the door on the such long distance.
Absolutely.
Yes, it's very cool.
I would like to know about the broad view. What can you tell us about, let's say, the impact of commercial drones, of commercial UAS in military, in Ukrainian for sure, military operations during these 5 months? I think, and I have to say, a lot of people, especially in Western Europe, is even now not enough aware of it, because let me tell you so, too much people right now still thinks about, hobbyist toys. But man, these are not toys at all. So what can you tell us about the general impact, the general story, the general picture of commercial drones in your war?
I tell you about the story about Switchblade. Do you know this complex?
Absolutely.
Do you know that this complex work only with GPS? Only. If
No,
there are no GPS at all, they flew out of the target.
absolutely, yeah.
It's a disaster. It's complex cost about, I don't want to talk about money, but it costs a lot.
A lot.
A
Yeah.
lot. Our country buy very many these birds and spend a lot of money on that because we cannot produce, as my lab cannot produce such many drones as we need.
Yeah.
But efficiency of this complex is not great. If I'm talking about the drone which named Atlas, do you know this drone? Atlas.
Yeah. Absolutely.
These drones are really cool. I'm really proud that our country, our government buy a lot of these drones. It have very cool technology when one drone can retranslate the signal to other drone. It helps to works in
In a mesh network, right?
yes, in a mesh. It's very cool system with high security, frequency band, and so on. It's really cool. If we're talking about our drones, yes, you may understand. We are all make hobbies drones. Yes, it's hobby, but it hobby
But
save, your life also because we are worried about Europe. We're trying to stop these fucking pigs, these orcs, that if they conquer the Ukraine, they're going to Europe.
I
It's
totally agree at all. Yeah.
it's the question of the time because dude, you may understand that all time of the history, Russia trying to conquer the Ukraine, all time, and they trying to and they hate the Ukrainian people also. Why they so? I don't know. The propaganda works in the country very well, and when we're talking about drones, it save our lives, your lives also.
I see. No, and I'm totally agree. Indeed, I have to say that I lost my Twitter account because I talk about these very things, about this aggression war, and trolls and bots attack my account, and I lost it. Okay, it's just a Twitter account, but it does matter because they are investing a lot of efforts in order to stop people talking about what really happens inside Europe. Anyways, I would like to know about, you started to compare between military small drones and commercial ones. So what's the big story? What's the big picture? Because I am really convinced that with commercial components and drones as a systems, you can iterate and evolve much quicker than with military systems, right?
Yes, you're correctly right. But as I say every time, as engineer, all drones are good for different tasks. As we're talking about the commercial story of the drone, we make producing as volunteers the drone for such type of the task.
Mhm.
If we're talking about the buying drone, yes, it have better cameras, but have not so good quality transmitter system. It drones can fly and make some nice footage on the long distance, which help to make the gunfire work. So when we're taking the FPV drones, it the story about the speed, about the work on a bubble, and the story about the huge drones, which also works on this principle. On the huge drones, we used also the powerful transmitter system, and it helps work only at night because it's a huge bird. You may
Yeah.
understand. The huge bird have the thermal eye and work on the target with thermal structure. I'm talking about cars. I'm talking about the fireplaces and the people which are sleeping outside of the building, for example. These birds. The story of these birds aren't new. Ucranianos building these huge drones, the middleweight drones from 2014. They drones which can fly with weight about 5 kilograms. We make the other drones. We make more huger drones which can fly with weight about 8 and 20 even kilograms.
Oh, my.
So the story about answer your question. All drones are good for different tasks, as I say many times. The expensive drones are good in one way, as cheaper good in the other way. So it's not if you're losing the cheaper drone, you're not so sad.
I see. So, what can you tell us about the future after the victory? Is there any plan beyond the here and now?
Actually, we're not thinking about a future right now because the situation I change in seconds. You understand what happens right now in China. I don't know how will be the story with components in the future. So, life is matter, but life in the time right now.
I see. Well, do you want to explain to us something, anything interesting besides all the things, the interesting things that you tell us?
We're talking about everything exactly. We're talking about huge drones. We're talking about small drones. We're talking about dropping system. Everything what I can say, I say to you.
Okay.
If you have some questions, I want to talking about the recycle. It's very cool that our lab a few weeks before starting to produce the dropping system from electronics cigarettes. I'm talking about this type of smoking cigarettes. We we use the lithium polymer battery from these cigarettes and use it in dropping system. It's very cool and very interesting. I, the producer of these cigarettes, use the lithium polymer battery. I don't know why, but it used, and we make the batteries make packs from the cigarette. It's very useful and very cool. We make our earth more cleaner.
Nice. So, do you mind to repeat the ways that our audience can help you?
Guys, if you want to help my lab, please donate spare parts for drones. We're talking about the spare parts for FPV drones. I'm talking about transmitters, receivers, remote controllers, cameras, analog, digital, and so on. If you don't have these parts, you can donate on my PayPal or international payment, which can you find in the links below on this video.
Okay, Maxim, what a mountain of information. It has been a really nice opportunity to know more about your drones and their impact on the war. So I just have to thank you again. Thank you very much, Maxim, for all your generosity. And I just have to say, Slava Ukraini.
Героям слава!
So